Okay. I hit it like 3 different times and it just kept saying declined or unable to. I don't know. Hi. Happy Tuesday for those watching live. Happy Wednesday for those watching after the fact. As we can see, I did not put any effort in today. We've got to go to the doctor here later on this afternoon. I got to pull my kid out of school a little early, so I just didn't feel like washing my face and then putting makeup on it and then having to do it all over again. So, and we are drinking tea today instead of just water. I do have water with me too, but we are doing more than just the water today because 1, caffeine, and 2, I wanted to show off my new cup that my son got me for Mother's Day as a very early Mother's Day gift. He just couldn't wait. He's too much like me. But I digress. We're just going to go ahead and move on. Carry on as always. And we're just going to go ahead, roll right into it. Let me unlock my phone again because, of course, I forgot to unlock. Or, of course, I took too long and then, everything. That probably did not send because I exited out too quickly, but that's okay. We'll figure it out later.
I'm not.
Oh, no, it did send. Cool. All right, so we're just going to go ahead, roll right into it. It's been a little bit of a chaotic intro already. Yay. All right, we're just going to go ahead, roll right into it, and we're going to do the intro. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Phoenix Reads. Today's episode is a series of Whatever Wednesday. That's right, y'all. It is our catch-all day. As usual, I don't read any of the stories I'm about to read with you. I will leave any usernames in the description if you want to go leave your own opinion on their post, given it is still up. My username for Reddit is in the description. Feel free to tag me in stories you'd like to hear me read. Let's get started. I love how easy it is to do all this. I think that's my favorite thing. It used to be called Anchor, and now it's called Podcast for Streamers, or Podcast for Spotify. It's called Podcasters for Spotify. Sorry. I think the actual little thing now, it just says Podcasters, but I mean, it's still all the same thing. It's still fantastic to... Oh. Somebody shut that door hard. Oh, to be fair, it's really windy outside, so it's probably the wind. And I've forgotten already. It's episode 6. I keep forgetting that we're like 1 number behind for Whatever Wednesday, and that really bothers the crap out of me. I'm not gonna lie. One of these days, I'm probably just gonna say fuck it and skip ahead 1 episode just so that way it's all like an even number every single week. And you know what? I probably won't tell anybody when I do it. I'll just do it. Because chaos. So we are going to do what we have been doing. And where it's like we're going to do a few from the Off My Chest. And then we're going to skip over to Petty Revenge. Yeah, Petty Revenge. Petty Revenge is on Wednesdays. I don't know why I couldn't remember that for whatever godforsaken reason. I don't know. Brain mentality. I did not save this one, so I'm trying to make sure I know when to switch over. Okay. Yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and roll right into it now. Hey everybody, happy Wednesday! I hope you guys are all having a good Wednesday, or you had a good Wednesday if you are listening to this later on in the day or after the fact. I don't really have a whole lot to say. You might hear me take a different kind of drink. I am drinking tea. Those who are watching via YouTube will be able to see that. I got a new Mother's Day cup from my son, so he gave it to me early. He just couldn't wait. So I'm drinking some tea out of it this morning. I don't really have a whole lot to say. I figure we're just going to stick with our regular every Wednesday type of deal where we're going to read a few from the catch-all, which is kind of like off my chest, relationship stuff. And then we'll flop over to Petty Revenge. And we'll see how we go. So we're just going to go ahead and roll right into the first one. I left my husband the day after our youngest moved out. He says I've deceived him all these years. I left my husband the day after our youngest moved out. He says I've deceived him all these years. I don't know why people like do the title and then their first paragraph is like the same title. I don't get it. My F49 husband, M51, cheated on me. It was 10 years ago when I got a call from the school saying that our youngest, then 9, was sick and needed to go home. When we arrived, I heard them in our bedroom. I panicked, made loud noises to let them know they weren't alone and that our daughter was with me. I'm crying just writing this. I still cry whenever I remember that day. That would be a really hard thing to do, and especially with your child being right there. The first year after that was the hardest on me. I felt so insignificant and inadequate, ugly and undesirable. We started therapy and my husband promised to do anything to make it work again. We moved apartments and brought new furniture, and I started a new habit of changing the sheets every night before bed. All of this wasn't as effective as that one morning when I woke up and realized that I wasn't in love with my husband anymore. After this realization, everything seemed easier moving forward. I saw him as a roommate and a great support raising the children. A good friend. We love our children, and we wanted the best for them. For these next 10 years, we hardly ever fought, and we raised 3 beautiful, happy, and successful young people. When I realized that I didn't love him anymore, I also stopped caring what if he did it again. It was one of my nightmares in the beginning. I didn't care anymore as long as I slept in clean sheets every night. Around Christmas, our youngest daughter, who is now 19, got her first contract for her own apartment. That's when I knew that I was free. I also set in motion my plans of moving out and getting my divorce. I found myself an apartment too, and I thought my husband can live in our apartment until we settled everything up. When I told him and handed him the divorce papers, he was in shock, and when I moved out the day after my daughter on April 2nd, he was even more shocked and distraught. Now he is telling me that I have deceived him all these years, acting like I was fine when I wasn't, while he lived in regret every day for how he hurt me. I am cold and calculated, and I am vindictive. I don't recognize any of these accusations. I don't see things that way. I saw it as me, and him of course, doing the best with what I was dealt to make a happy and content life for our children. Our whole family, really. And I think I succeeded. What more could anyone ask of me? Edit. I'm thankful that you are reaching out. I'm sorry I can't chat with all of you. I will try to answer women/men who are going/went through similar situations, and I want to help. Yes, we still had sex. It started again 2 to 3 years later. We used protection because I wouldn't let him touch me without. I said we hardly ever fought, but if we did, it was about sex and the condoms. Also, it went from 2 to 3 times a week to 2 to 3 times a year. In my mind, if he cheated when we were very intimate and active, he was probably cheating now. It bothered me less and less within years. I don't know how long they were sleeping together. Hold on. Okay, yeah. I wanted to make sure I was on the right paragraph. I don't know how long they were sleeping together. I don't know who she was. I never wanted to know. I just saw her once, and that was the only thing I didn't want to know in therapy. I don't know if he still slept with her. I don't know if he still slept with her or others. I just assume he did because it was easier for me to expect the worst. I never said love you to him again, something we used to say often before. He continued saying it and always told me that he would wait for me to say it back. I didn't need to hear leave to find happiness sooner. I was happy and lucky having my children and my home. I didn't need more, but now I see no reason or happiness in staying. I never did what I did to get back at him or to get revenge. My children know I have left. They are sad, but my reason was good enough. I was out of love with him. They don't know the details, and we are keeping it that way. They don't need to know anything. I'm not going to lie, part of me is a little worried that he's going to get... Again, I don't know much about him. Besides the cheating, from what I've only seen as even a red flag is maybe him trying to push to have sex more. But at the same time, he's probably craving that intimacy that they had before, like she said, and now that they no longer have. And to be fair, that's completely valid. I completely understand her feelings in that aspect of not wanting to be sexually intimate with him, especially without, like, protection. That would be a big thing for me too. And honestly, from what I have read so far, I applaud her for being able to do what she needs to do in order to just get through life until she feels like she can be free. I don't see it as like, oh, well, if you were that unhappy, leave. Like, not everybody is in that position, like, financially or, you know, mentally, to just be like, all right, well, you broke my one deal, so deuces. Not everybody is like that. So I feel like, honestly, the way she's gone about it is probably, honestly, the way I would go about it. I'm not even gonna lie about that. It's kind of one of those things where it's just, yeah, like, it's kind of the consequences of his actions. And just because, like, it doesn't seem like she ever said, I forgive you, or anything like that. Like, just because they went to therapy doesn't automatically make it so she forgives him or wanted to work things out between them. She stayed so that way they could raise happy and healthy children, because in her eyes, happy and healthy children come from a family that have both parents in the home and are happy. And as long as she put up that front and was able to put up that front, I mean, obviously it's somewhat worked, so no, I don't change my bedding every night now. I have no need. I honestly, I feel like I did, like, that was the last of it. I wish I would have just read that extra sentence before going on my rant. But yeah, like, she never said I forgive you, or at least she never told us that she did. She never said I love you again to him. I do just feel like I think that what she did was the right thing. Honestly, I think that she did. Okay, let me rephrase it. I think what she did was the right thing for her. If that makes more sense, which I think for some people it will. Part of me feel I just read the title for this next one. Part of me feels like it belongs in Petty Revenge, but oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Oh, I put milk in my ex's mattress. This is a throwaway account, but my ex-husband was very shitty towards the end of our relationship, constantly cheating, lying, and playing victim when he could have just got the divorce 2 years earlier, like I asked, but manipulated me into staying for the sake of his own financial gain. Ugh. I also loved that man so much. I finally got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. I took the few clothes I had and left within 24 hours like he wanted. Though he had won with the mind games, he forced me out because I saw the messages on his Discord. Oh, in his Discord. And I had seen him talking to some girl in his Discord about me and how I was his female roommate. And that was kind of the last straw. So before I left our living situation, I got a small turkey injector and put milk in it and put it into a bunch of different areas in his mattress. I don't feel bad at all. He's still sleeping on the bed to this day. LMAO. The idea of him sleeping in that cheese bed and that he's possibly brought a woman to hook up with on that mattress makes me laugh. Okay, bye. I really feel like that should have been, like, in Petty Revenge. But, oh my gosh, did I love that. Like, that was just, mwah, that was a beautiful little piece. I loved it. We're just gonna go ahead and scroll on. I'm gonna take another drinkeroni. And for anybody asking, or anybody curious, not that anybody is, it is green tea with a little bit of sugar, honey, and then I also have some raspberry tea mixed in it for some flavor as well. Usually I put, like, milk or something in it, but this time I didn't, and honestly, I think I prefer it without the milk, so. Also there's some honey in there. I don't remember if I said that or not. Anyway. My 23F cousin, 27F, told me that she was having sex with my boyfriend, 25M, who died last year while we were together. This is a concluded story. This also comes from Best of Redditor updates, so we do have trigger warnings and or mod spoilers. I'm not going to do any spoilers, but I will give you any trigger warnings. It does say death of a partner, which, I mean, I think that was kind of obvious via the title. So yeah. Almost 1 year ago, I lost the man I considered the love of my life. We were together since I was 19. Ooh, gosh. So when she was 22, so for about 3 years, they were together. Ooh, excuse me. He died in an accident, and this was so unexpected. It was tragic, and I went into a depression. He was the man I wanted to call my husband and have a family with. There were so many things we wanted to experience together. I just couldn't deal with it, and the pain was very strong. Thankfully, I had a few people who were there for me. I also went to therapy, and it really helped me. It still hurts a lot, but I'm doing my best to get better. The thing is that I have this cousin who I see from time to time, but I don't really get along with. She only contacted me when she needs me to help her. I think we all have family like that. I'm not gonna lie. If I could sorry, I skipped a paragraph. She only contacts me when she needs me to help her. She still has a lot of issues and trouble. So I used to feel a bit bad about her and try to help her a bit. 2 days ago, she called me because she wanted to know if I could take care of her kids. She's a single mother of 2. For a few hours, I told her that I couldn't because I had to study for some exam. She started to get mad, go on a rant, and told me I was being a bitch, that I was lying, and things as such. I told her I was done with her and her insults. I was about to hang up, but that's when she told me, just so you know, I was fucking with my late boyfriend's name for 3 months, and that until the day he died. I just couldn't believe it. Oh, for 3 months and that until the day he died. I don't know about that sentence. I just couldn't believe it. I was in disbelief, completely shocked, but didn't know if it was true or not. I told her to shut up, that it was all lies, and that she needed to take her medication, and hung up on her. That's a really difficult position to be in. Like, one, it was made out of, like, complete anger, so it's like, is it true? Is it just, like, her just trying to hurt her because she's that upset, which, why the fuck would you be that upset about somebody not being able to last minute babysit your kids? Like, that is crazy to me, and I will never understand it. I really won't. I started to cry. I was in so shock. Oh, sorry. It says, I was in so shocked. I don't think this is originally English, maybe? I don't know. I know she has some bipolar issues, but I also know for sure she had sex with plenty married and taken men as well in her past. I would be very worried that it might be real. But at the same time, it's like, hold on, let me finish this, and then I'll make my little say known. I'm so confused. I just have a hard time believing my boyfriend would have been able to do that. He didn't even like her, and she didn't like him either. I don't think she was his type, and he told me she was bringing too much drama. Oh, and he told me she was bringing too much drama. Yeah, that's definitely what it sounds like. If it's true, I never saw or noticed anything. I can't believe it, but it puts some doubts in my mind. I'm feeling lost and confused now. Is she lying? Did she invent this because she wanted to be mean and hurt me? I just don't know what to think. So, my biggest issue with this story is boyfriend is no longer around to ask and defend himself. And not only does that make me feel bad because, one, I'm going to use this as an example, and I hope nobody gets mad about it. But to me, it's like the Michael Jackson thing, where, yes, there were some, like, little tidbits that came out about him, like, essaying children when he was alive, but it really, like, I feel like it hit a full force after he died. And I feel like that's not a fair thing to do because, one, the dead isn't there to defend themselves. So it's literally one side against the other. And I feel like that's a really shitty thing to do. Like, if you're going to say it while the other person is alive. Like, don't sit there and wait till they die and then be like, they did this to me, or we did this together. And it's like, but there's no proof. Like, unless you can have proof, like undeniable proof, then I can understand that. But with it just being hearsay, it's unfair to do it when the other person isn't around to defend themselves. That's all I have to say about that one. I don't think it's fair. Oh, we have an update. Okay, I just scrolled to the next page to see if to see what the next one was. So, but we have an update. So, yay. Update. My 23F cousin, 27F, told me she was having sex with my boyfriend, 25M. He died last year. This update was 4/7 of 23. So this is a very recent update. A few days ago, I posted about my cousin telling, during an argument, that she was having sex for 3 months with my boyfriend while we were together. My boyfriend died almost a year ago. We had such a beautiful relationship, and even though I didn't believe her, she has mental health issues, it still fucked me up and put some doubts in my head. You can see my previous post on my profile for more details. Since I posted, I waited 2 days to see if she would contact me to apologize, but I didn't hear from her. So as many people suggested, I blocked her. I decided that I was completely done with her and I cut her off. I won't be able to forgive her because what she did was very vile and cruel. She was not worth it anyways. I talked about it to my mother, brothers, and my late boyfriend's friends, a few of them, and everyone told me that I shouldn't believe her. His friends told me that they never saw any signs. They never heard he was cheating with her or anyone. They also told me that every time he was talking about me, it was in positive. It reassures me, but that makes me sad because it made me miss him even more. That's gotta be really, really hard. Now I'll only try to keep the good memories that I had with him, and I will try to forget about what she said. I want to honor his memory because he was the man I loved. I know the path is going to be long, and I know that depression probably isn't too far. I have some bad days and better ones. My cousin made things worse. But thankfully, I have a great mother, brothers, and best friends, and few friends. Sorry, it says, I have a great mother and brothers, best friend, few friends. However, sometimes I still feel very alone and lost. I hope for better days, and to the people who told me they lost someone in the comments, I feel your pain and I'm sorry. Also, thanks to the ones who show me support, I appreciate it. Every time I had an issue or a problem, my boyfriend used to tell me, we'll make it together. Now I'm alone, but I'll fight for you and your memory. And I'm trying not to cry. That last little bit was really hard to read. Whew. Okay. So we're gonna do another one from our kind of catch-all. This one also comes from Best Redditor Updates. Unfortunately, this does say inconclusive, but it looks like this original post was only on the 5th of April, so not even a month ago, so I might, if I remember to, I might go and try and check and see if we have a better update. But I, 29F, am considering ending my engagement to my fiance, 32M, over something that my friend, hold on, I forgot to write. My friend, 31M, told me, but I'm not sure if I'd be making a mistake. I needed to number, so I did not forget. So I have a friend, Clark, who I've known forever. We grew up together. Clark's dad recently died, and I've been helping him to clean out the house. And this weekend, we found an engagement ring in his dad's stuff. Uh-oh? I'm not sure how to feel about that just yet. Clark told me that it was a ring he bought for me back when he was in college and was going to give me when I graduated high school. But his dad found out and forbid him and took the ring away from him. And so he never asked to marry me or never asked me to marry him and never told me about it until now. So your friend, Clark, did you guys actually date? I guess that's what I'm slightly lost about right now. Okay. So the thing is that I did used to have a pretty big crush on Clark when we were kids, but I got over it since I never thought I had a shot with him. Since he told me that he almost proposed to me, all I've been able to think about is how my life would have turned out if that had happened. So you guys weren't even dating. You guys were just friends, and that's crazy. That's crazy to me. Holy crap. Whew. I can't stop wondering if Clark is still interested in me now, and I feel like he might be because he said that he's always regretted not asking me to marry him because he was too scared of getting cut off to stand up to his dad. And he did also tell me that I could keep the ring now if I wanted. Oh, I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that at all, because that would be so wild to me. Whew. Okay, sorry. Imagine coming back with a ring and then your fiance asking you, like, hey, where'd you get that? That's really pretty. And you go, oh, Clark gave it to me. Apparently he was going to use it to propose to me, like, way back when. Like, imagine that conversation. Like, how would you even lie about that, too? Like, woo! But I feel like doing anything anywhere close to pursuing anything with Clark, even just talking to him about how he feels, is basically cheating on my fiance. And the only ethical thing to do is to end things with him first. I feel like that would be a long shot. Okay, hold on. Let me finish this and then we'll talk about it. But until this happened, I've been very happy with my fiance, and I'm not sure if I'm being tempted to act rashly because lately things have been stressful. We've been together for 2 years, and we got engaged last October. So we've just started wedding planning, which has frankly been pretty awful, and I'm not sure how much that's been influencing my feelings. But on the other hand, I'm wondering if the fact that I'm having cold feet in any sense maybe means it's a good idea to take a step back. What should I do? Oh, excuse me, sorry. So update 1, this came on April 6th, 2023, so the next day. So my post got removed, and I don't think there's really any point in trying to post to the subreddit again anyway, so I'm just going to make an update here like the sidebar suggested since people have been sending me messages about it. But basically, all that's happened so far is that I wasn't sure what I wanted to say to my fiance. So I went to my parents' house so that I could think about it for a while longer. My mom at one point started asking me wedding planning questions, which led to a conversation where I ended up telling her I don't want to get married anymore. She's actually being really supportive of this because she agrees that I shouldn't marry my fiance. But because of any issues that she said she's been noticing about his family. That I shouldn't marry my fiance. But because of issues that she said she's been noticing about his family. So right now I'm staying at my parents' house. My mom told my fiance that I'm sick so that he wouldn't try to come see me until I'm ready to tell him I'm calling off the wedding. I do know I just need to rip the Band-Aid off and tell him, but then I'm trying to think about what exactly I want to say. I swear to God, I've been in like almost a similar situation before. Again, I'll talk about that later. Update 2, I need to break up with my fiance. This was also posted on April 6th. So I know this is probably a better question for the relationship subreddits, but the general tone over here looked a little bit kinder. The situation is that my fiance and I have been together 2 years and engaged for 6 months. But a few things have happened recently to make me take a step back and realize that this relationship isn't actually what I want. I've been thinking about this for a while now, but I'm still not sure how to explain that to my fiance. I can write it out how I'm feeling pretty easily, but I feel like obviously he's owed a face-to-face conversation about something like this, and I truly don't know how I'm supposed to look someone in the eye and tell them that I don't want to marry them. Right now, I'm avoiding him instead of talking to him, and I can't keep doing that, so I really need some advice. Update 3. This was posted on April 8th. I wasn't able to post this to the subreddit for whatever reason. Someone suggests I post to my profile instead. So I decided to break up with my fiance after thinking everything over. I realized that even aside from anything to do with Clark, it would have been the wrong decision to marry him. And I had a conversation with my mom when I told her what I decided, where she agreed that I shouldn't marry my fiance for reasons I hadn't really considered, that also convinced me I was making the right choice by ending things. I told him that it wasn't his fault and it wasn't about anything that he did, but that I'd been doing a lot of thinking and realized that our relationship wasn't what I wanted, and that I thought it would be best if we ended things, and that I was sorry and I wished him the best in life, but I just couldn't be a part of it. He didn't get upset like I was afraid he would, and it didn't turn into a fight or anything. He basically first said that he didn't understand where this was coming from, and then asked me if it was because of something that my parents were saying, and if I was sure. But then he didn't really have anything else to say about it and just agreed we talk later to figure out getting the rest of my stuff out of his apartment. I do think this was the right decision because I've been feeling really relieved since it happened. I've had a lot of conversations over the past few days that have made me realize that I don't think I ever actually loved my fiance. I was just comfortable with him and thought that that was good enough. The ability to relate to this story for me is fucking wild. Mini update from original OP, or sorry, just OOP in the comments. I don't know why I'm trying to put so many words out of my mouth. Hey, since you asked, I figured I'd give you an update now that I have one. So I talked to Clark about everything last night, and basically what happened is that he told me he wasn't trying to come between me and my fiance or confess to having feelings for me when he told me about how he had almost proposed to me back then. He just told me that story without thinking that it would affect anything. But when I asked, he admitted that while he hasn't secretly been in love with me all these years or anything like that, he has always still thought that we'd make a good couple, but just felt like he missed his window for anything to happen between us. So I told him that I felt the same way, and we ended up kissing. But we decided that we don't want to jump into anything right now because I'm still trying to figure out a lot of things. Good for you! So for now, I guess we both acknowledge that we do have feelings for each other, but we're trying to be smart and take things slow. Marked as inconclusive since OOP deleted their account. This is a repost sub. I am not the OOP. So just so we know. This one is hella long. So I don't want to do like a super long one. Just because I don't want to not be able to do any petty revenge. So we're going to skip over to petty revenge. That looks like a terrible 5. Okay. But yeah, so anyway, like I was saying, I wanted to get situated before I really come out with this. I was engaged before to someone before I met my husband again. My husband and I, we went to high school together, and then he joined the military and he was gone. We broke up while he was in the military, which was honestly like one of the worst decisions I think I'd ever made for any type of relationship, because there was some girl that was trying to get in between us because she was trying to date him, and she was like constantly in my ear like, oh, well, he texts me this and he texts me that, and I'm just like, I never hear from him. Like, I don't understand why he's texting you so much, but I never hear from him. It was all a lie, spoiler, but that didn't come out till later because I had pretty much like, I didn't even like really break up with him. I left him a message on MySpace. That shows my age. And then took anything that I had back to his mom and told her, and she basically is the one that told him. I was hoping that he would see in my brain, I was like, I hope he sees the message before like his mom says anything. But it was like a really emotional thing because it's like I had gotten really close with his parents, So it's like I was breaking up with like his family too, and that was really heartbreaking for everybody involved. And then I went over to a friend's house, and I was just like, okay, like I'm just gonna be gone for a while. Like he doesn't know her number. Like this will be fine. And then her cousin messaged my best friend's sister to get her phone number, and then he called me. And he was like trying to talk to me. I was like, I don't want to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, like I don't want to hear anything about it. Yeah, it was like this whole thing. And we had like, and because there was distance, it's not like anything could really happen. So we were like, okay, bye. Like we kept in contact over the years and got over it because we were friends first before we dated. And that stayed afterwards. Which was really hard for some relationships that I had after him. And then I met the person I was engaged to, and like we got engaged, like I think probably within like 6 months. Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie about that. And we were together for 4 years, almost 4 years. And then my husband moved back to Iowa, and we started talking again. We started hanging out, and I was just kind of like, it made me realize like how unhappy I was in my current relationship and how unhappy I had been. Because I think I'd been unhappy for probably about 1.5 years, almost 2 years. And it was from things that like, it was always the same fight. It was always like, you do this, I wish you wouldn't do this, I don't think it's okay that you do this, and it was like, oh, I'm gonna change, like, oh, I'll make it better, blah, 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 and things would change for a week, and then just go back to right the way they were. So, when I had the opportunity to leave, I took it. And I've never looked back, and I don't regret that decision at all. That's why I'm saying I feel like I can really relate to the story. But anyway, we're gonna move on to petty revenge. Kid covered in apple juice. I laughed like no other. My son came home and told me what had happened in school that day. My children go to a predominantly white school despite my hating it. The teachers are constantly making fun of other races and saying things like Jap and acting like monkeys in front of students. Y'all, the way I could fucking never. I'm telling you, the gods don't put me in situations like this because I do not like confrontation for myself, but you bet your fucking ass I'm gonna enjoy some confrontation when it comes to somebody that doesn't understand what confrontation is. Like, you wanna make fun of other kids? Like, kids in front of me? Nah, bitch, you gonna catch some words. I will never fucking understand people like that getting into teaching positions. I don't fucking get it. Oh. No surprise, many of the children found this hilarious and repeated many of the things this teacher said. Parents are really no better and chose to support this behavior. I mean, okay. At the same time, I feel like from the time it goes from the student or from the teacher to the student to the parents, the kids have definitely watered it down or made it more dramatic. So, like, by the time it gets to the parents, it's going to be kind of like, oh, like, that's funny. Like, oh, I'm sure your teacher was, like, doing something else and you're taking it the wrong way, or you're, like, misconstruing, like, what they said. Which I can understand that. Coming from a parent who has a very dramatic child. I can understand, like, kind of brushing off stuff like that. Because I'm like, oh, I'm sure you're just blowing it out of proportion and stuff like that. Because my child is very dramatic and he blows things out of proportion constantly. He will be running in the house and I will tell him all the time, stop running, stop running, stop running, stop running. And then he'll run past one of the cats, and our older cat, Sky, she just kind of like swats out at him, but he's just like, ah, she scratched me. Oh my God, my leg. And it's like, well, one, if you hadn't been running in the fucking house like I told you to stop doing like 50 million times 30 years ago, that wouldn't have happened. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I can understand like downplaying the actions once they bring it home, because it's like, oh, kids are dramatic anyway. So I'm just saying I understand. That's all. My son is friends with one of the only black kids in the school. During lunch that day, apparently there was a table across from theirs. As they ate lunch, these kids at the opposite table started to say some really horrible things. racial slurs, and such that I won't repeat here. Thank you. Apparently, this kid is just really about had it and turns and carefully aims a juice box at the table. He proceeds to pound it with his hands, covering the entire group that has been bullying him. They point at my son and say, "You need to clean this up," as they weren't messing with the child who had done it. My bet is that they were afraid of him at this point. My son goes to the bathroom, grabs some paper towels, throws them down in front of the kid who had told him to clean it up, and said he was very happy to provide the paper towels for the kid and that he wasn't going to clean up, and that this kid needed to clean up. This kid is raving mad because he won't say anything to anybody because of the things the kid and his friends have been saying prior to. The teachers at the school fly below radar, but due to optics would not be able to cover this one up. The obnoxious kid was wiping up juice and trying to get it off of his clothes when he called my son a little bitch. To which my son replied, "Yeah, I'm not the one on the floor cleaning up the mess that you deserved." It was glorious. Edit. I will no longer be responding to anyone who insists that this is fake. I'm not creative enough to make this stuff up. If that's your opinion, then I respect that, but I will no longer be answering those types of responses. It is a complete non-issue on my side, and some people just insist upon it for unknown reasons to me. Shrugging emoji. So, for one, if this is true, because I understand a lot of people are probably... Because one, I don't know how old these children are. When it first started, I thought they were maybe, like, elementary school aged. Because I feel most of the time, like, if it's, like, older kids, like, middle school and high school, like, they kind of say that in the comments. But they didn't this time, so for whatever reason in my head, I was thinking, like, oh, this is, like, elementary school ages. So that makes me kind of take back my comment about the dramatic kids and the parents, like, being okay with it. Because if it's older kids, then that's a little harder to get around for me. I'm just saying. But, I mean, if it's true, that's a good story. And I also hope that that kid continues to stick up for his friends, regardless of skin color. But to be fair, everybody should stick up for everybody else, regardless of skin color, when somebody else is being bullied, so. Throughout roommates... Is that really how this is going to go? Throughout roommates' food. Hello, all. This past Sunday, I moved most of my things out of my apartment. I have 3 roommates, one of which is a close friend. Okay, hold on. One of which is a close friend is barely there, not even once a week. So this post is about the remaining 2 roommates. Okay, never mind. For whatever reason, when it said I have 3 roommates, I was including OP in this as well. So I was just like, how are there 2? So 4 total people living, OP's friend, and then the 2 roommates the story is about. On Sunday, I bagged up my fridge items and left them in the corner of the fridge. I did the same for my freezer items and left them in the freezer. Let the roommates know I would be back Wednesday, today, to get my things and drop my keys off. I go to the apartment tonight, and behold, my things left in the fridge and freezer are gone. I text the roommates and ask who threw my stuff out. The roommate I am friends with, / is never there, responded saying she didn't, which I figured. The other 2 are dicks and don't like me too much. The other 2 do not respond and have about 1.5 plus hours, so 1.5 hours, to respond before I do what I did. So, OP texts, I'm assuming they're like their roommate group chat, and is like, hey, who threw my shit out? And the best friend is like, I don't, wasn't me. And then the other 2 are just like radio silent for almost 2 hours, I'm going to assume. I ended up seeing 1 out of 2 of the remaining roommates and asked her about where the bags of food went. And she plays dumb, saying that she has no idea and never saw them. Total bullshit. No one ever throws stuff out in the fridge / freezer without asking the others first. That's been a standard with everyone. So, after I load up the rest of my belongings in my car, I threw out groceries from the 2 roommates in the fridge / freezer. The roommate who I am friends with is never there, doesn't have food there, and I know what she has, so I avoided those things.
It felt good to get even. They threw out new meat, vegetables, produce, name brand stuff of mine. Expensive shit just to be assholes. So I decided to be a petty asshole back. Oh, there's a little update. Saw one of the roommates today. I was on the phone with the whole time and ignored her. She followed me through a parking garage to an office and back. I got into my car, finished my call while she screamed at my window. She tried standing behind my car not to let me out. I waited and she finally moved and I left. I texted her after and said something along the lines of, "Hey, I was on the phone and I had to run to work. What did you need to talk about again?" I love that. The absolute pettiness of that just response was, oh, that was brilliant. And I loved it. I very much enjoyed that, like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I was on the phone. Did you need something?" Cups back. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next one, because, again, I don't really have, like, a lot to say about these petty revenge ones. I just love being able to share them and being in awe of the pettiness, if that makes sense. Don't mess with your employees' paycheck. I, 19M, used to work at a small smoke shop in a rougher part of town. I wanted a part-time job that didn't require too much physical labor because I was going through some medical problems at the time that made it difficult for me to lift heavy loads without feeling lightheaded and nauseous. The pay wasn't great, but I felt the $10 an hour was reasonable given the amount of work that needed to be done throughout the day was minimal. All I needed to do for the most part was keep the shop clean and sell product, which I was fine with. When I first met the owner, he seemed like a genuine dude. He cared a lot about profits like any other business owner would, but the other employees there assured me that he cared about his employees and would take care of me. Why am I getting a feeling this is going to be like one of those like click type situations? Because that's the vibe I'm getting. So I figured, all right, cool. There were 3 other people there that I worked with other than the boss. For simplicity's sake, I'll call them Caden, Nancy, and Ivan, fake names. The first week I worked was great, but when my first payday came around and I asked how it worked, the boss told me to take $200 out of the register and leave a note. Looking back, that should have been red flag number 1. Hold on. They're going to name their red flags, so we've got... Just so that way the listening people can hear. That something fishy was going on. Oh, but after doing the math, he wasn't withholding tax. So I was getting paid more than I should have been. I asked my coworkers if this was normal, and they said it was, and that he did payroll on this way so that way he could avoid taxes. That's illegal! Sorry. Now, a rational person would hear this and stay as far away from this business as possible, but at the time, I really enjoyed the job and found out I was really good at selling merchandise, so I decided to stay. Around a month or 2 in, the boss started to show his true colors. Every time I would make a very minor mistake, example, accidentally putting a card transaction as cash on the register, he would talk down to me like I was the stupidest person on the planet. He would call me on the store phone to do so while I had a line of customers. See, the job that I had right before I came back to being a stay-at-home mom, like permanent or like full-time, I felt like this because I had been so I was only working 2 days a week. Let's keep that in mind. I worked there for about a month and only working 2 days a week for 6 hours. Not even, like, it wasn't even a full month. So it's not even 2 full weeks of work. And the way I was treated, like I was some fucking idiot for still learning the system and, you know, making sure and like trying to learn all the ins and outs of insurance and everything like that, like health insurance. It was very frustrating and very, very annoying, and that's honestly why I quit. It wasn't because I wanted to do the stay-at-home mom thing and do this. It was just literally, I was so tired of being so stressed out about going to work and being made to feel like trash that I was just like, you know what? Nope, I'm done. Fuck it.
And I'm glad I did.
I also started to notice sometimes on payday, he would tell me to take an amount from the drawer that was less than what I was supposed to get. I would call him out on it and he would fix it, but remember this for later in the story. The boss would also get really dumb arguments with Ivan frequently, and he would make it clear to the rest of us that he didn't like Ivan whatsoever. The boss cut his hours. Ivan had a couple of children to take care of and didn't tolerate this, so Ivan quit on the spot. Good for Ivan! Which, with all the stuff he had to put up with, I didn't blame him. But with his absence, I had to pick up some of his hours. Then Nancy was getting ready to move because her wife is in the military and just got out of basic training. So, Nancy gave the boss a month's notice before she had to leave, and the boss did not like it. He would take every opportunity to lash out at her and even started making misogynistic remarks like Nancy should be the only one to clean the bathroom because she's a woman and women make the bathroom dirtier. Which she didn't. How the fuck is that logic? We have to sit down to do everything in there. Y'all with the pee-pees stand and you walk in and it looks like somebody just let off a fucking, like, it's a sparkler and it just comes out in spurts and gets everywhere. So, where's the logic in that, motherfucker? Sorry, I wasn't prepared for that comment and it made me really irrationally angry. During this time, the boss told Caden and I that he didn't want to hire anybody and that he only needs us good employees, aka, okay, I was gonna say aka ass kissers, but at the same time, I think at this point it's just people that are still putting up with their shit because they can't just quit on the spot. To keep the store running. But after Nancy left, the schedule only consisted of me and Caden, since the boss was finishing getting his new location up and running. But Caden has another day job as an electrician and wouldn't be able to come until 7 p.m. most days, which left me to open Monday through Sunday at 9 a.m. and work till 7 or until Caden came in. Yikes. As you can imagine, I was not happy with this arrangement. I signed up for a part-time position, and there I was working close to 70-hour weeks, with the boss calling me at least twice a day to chew me out. I kept asking if I could take a day or two off from the shop, because working 10-hour days every day was exhausting. Some of the regular customers were even getting a little concerned because every time they came in, I was always the one behind the counter. But he kept giving me a sob story about how he can't get Caden to pull a double shift. Sorry, I don't fucking understand people like this. During my shifts at the time, I was easily earning my boss... I was easily earning my boss $1,500 to $2,000 in profit per day. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I feel like I'm a pretty good salesman. But he never gave me any sort of raise in pay whatsoever. The boss eventually decided to hire someone else, and I do mean someone as in one person. And this dude said he could only work part-time. And for whatever reason, the boss accepted that request, but none of mine. Probably because he was new, and they were trying to appease him, so that way it wouldn't be like, yo, this is whack, and leave. So chances are that's probably what it was. Same reason why he probably told you, like, oh yeah, everything will be fine, and then nothing was fine. The final straw for me was when payday came one week, and he only paid me $600 for a 72-hour week. That don't even make a lick of fucking sense. I didn't even need to do the math on that one to realize he was screwing me. What made it worse was that day he gave me a little speech about how he appreciated everything I did for him. I was fuming with anger at this point, but decided to finish out my shift. This boss is giving me, we're a family vibe. I would never fuck you over on pay. That's a little special shout out to my husband and one of his friends, ex bosses. The next morning, I was training the new guy, and maybe an hour after my shift started, I decided I had enough of the way my boss treated me. I gave the store key to the new guy and told him that I was quitting and warned him about the boss's behavior and how he'll likely get treated in the future. I made sure that the new guy knew I had nothing against him, but I wasn't going to continue to work for someone who wasn't going to pay me what he agreed to. Oh. I took a bad, breath and almost killed myself. I walked out feeling like a huge weight had been lifted off of my shoulders and blocked my boss on everything. Obviously, the new guy told the boss what happened, and he tried to call me from 5 different phone numbers throughout the week, and I ignored all of them. I heard from Caden that he had to close his new location for almost a week so he could work my shifts, which lost him a whole lot of money. If I had to guess, it would probably be close to $5,000 to $6,000 in profit loss, which is a lot of money he could have saved by just paying me what I was owed. But that isn't where the story ends, folks. I didn't know it yet, but I had one last cherry to add to his shitstorm ice cream. A week or so goes by, and I noticed that someone at the shop was using my Spotify account. I forgot to log out of my account on the sound system for that shop. And let me tell you, I got so excited. I had a buddy of mine go in as a customer to witness what I was about to do. I found a playlist called Worst Songs to Have Sex To, filled with songs like Cotton Eye Joe and the Barney and Caillou theme songs. And I wished I could have gone inside to see the boss's face as he tried in vain to change the music. But my buddy's recount will have to do. He kept trying to change the music back, but every time he did, I had my phone ready in my hand to unleash the reading rainbow. My buddy came back to the car, and we were laughing all the way home. So, moral of the story, don't mess with your employees' paychecks. Woo! It was a long one, but oh my gosh, was that a good one. I forgot what number I'm on. 8. This one's gonna be like a super short one, so we're definitely gonna do this one. And then that might be it. Might be. We'll see. Officer didn't give a warning, so I told his kid he couldn't ride. For the last few years, I've worked a preseason at an amusement park. I have the final call as supervisor since I've got 6 years seniority. Even though I only work 8 days a year. Damn. 5 years ago, a police officer gave me a citation driving 5 miles per hour over the speed limit, even though I hadn't received a citation since 2001. 2 days ago, a ride operator called me because someone was upset that his child wasn't tall enough to ride. Although I could have allowed his child to ride with adult supervision, I recognized the officer and denied his request. Yep, 5 under, officer. I'm sure he understood after that his child bawled. Am I the asshole? Yes. Why, yes, I am. So, okay, so for one, I feel like it might be, maybe it's just, how do I want to put this? I'm going to put this as, like, normally for me as I can. Maybe it's the Hufflepuff side of me. I can't believe I just admitted that. But I probably would have gone the higher road for something like that. Given I understand, like, a citation like that, it does cost you money. So, I understand that part. But I would have been like, yeah, you can ride. That'll, like, yeah, he should be fine. But at the same time, the other part of me is, that same side of me is like, those height requirements are there for a reason. I live really close to Adventureland Park, which is here in Iowa. And I don't think it was last year, but the year before, so 2 years ago, I want to say. I think 2021. There was an incident before the park got sold to the new owners that we have now. And a kid died. I don't think, it wasn't because, like, he was too short or wasn't tall enough to ride the ride or anything like that. He was the appropriate size. It was a water ride, the raft flipped, and he drowned. but what I'm saying still stands. They have also changed, like, height requirements and stuff like that. And this year, they are also implementing that no one 17 or under is allowed in the park after 4 p.m. without adult supervision. So before 4 p.m., that's fine. But after 4 p.m., negative. A lot of people are getting really upset about that, but I honestly think it's a good thing. Because, one, like, the 17-year-olds, I feel like 15 and 16-year-olds, and even, like, some 14-year-olds nowadays are really fucking, like, shitty. And to be fair, like, people that work at the amusement park are, I mean, like, what? You guys are getting paid, like, $10 an hour? Probably, maybe 15, like, if you're a manager. I don't mean to say it like that, but I think you know what I mean. Those who know. And y'all don't get paid enough to babysit somebody else's fucking shithead 14 to 16, 17-year-old kids. And I feel like 17-year-olds, they're so close. You could be just a day over 17, and you could be on, like, you would just feel like you're on the cusp of being what's considered an adult, which the fact that now in the States you can't smoke or drink until you're 21. And the only thing you can do as an 18-year-old is graduate, work, and join the military. Which, this has been my personal opinion for many, many years. If you're old enough to die for this country, you should be old enough to drink or smoke. Just saying. But y'all don't get paid enough to babysit these fucking shithead kids. That's what I'm saying. So I feel like telling him no was honestly the best thing to do. Because one, I don't know what kind of ride it was. I'm assuming it's a kid's ride because the kid threw a fit. But at the same time, I'm also assuming maybe it was like one of those rides where, like, let's take my son, for example. He's on the shorter side. He has been on the shorter side probably since he was about, like, 4. But given his dad was the same way. His dad was, like, really short, and then once he got to high school, he, like, shot up. So, for me, my kid's also very skinny. Again, his dad's the same fucking way. He definitely didn't get it from me. Hello, bat rings. So, I feel like at the same time, depending on the ride, you could have actually saved that kid's life. So I don't really see it as, like, a petty thing that you did. But if it makes you feel better that you kind of got, like, your comeuppance about it 5 years after the fact for going 5 miles over the speed limit, hey. If it makes you feel better, then there's nothing that can be said for anybody else. I guess that's all I really have to say about that one. But I am, however, running out of time. So we need to do the outro and wrap this baby up. Thanks for listening today. I hope you all enjoyed the podcast. If you know someone who likes my content, feel free to send me their way in a share. If you would like to send me a message with your own story, rant, question, unpopular opinion, or if you want me to tell others how you fucked up today, or any day, send me a message via any of my social media found in the description. Just look for my cute little avatar you see on whatever app you're listening on. Please, give a rating if you enjoyed what you heard today. I hear that they help out tremendously. And as always, I will catch y'all next time. Bye! And while that's doing it, I hope you guys all enjoyed what you saw today. Feel free to hit the subscribe, the like, the comment, the bell icon. I don't know if the bell icon's really a thing anymore. I don't hear YouTubers pushing it anymore, so I've got no idea. Also, feel free to send the video that you just watched to anybody else that you think that would enjoy it. But as always, I will see you guys on YouTube on Friday. Have a good week, guys.